Take a Ride podcast. I'm your host here, Starks. You can find me on my Twitter handle. It's at Starks_industry. You can also find me on Instagram, One Closing Hero. I'm not here alone this evening, morning, afternoon, wherever you may be in the fantasy world. I have the combo guard running the two, Jacob, the White Knight. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing well, brother. Happy to be here talking about basketball with you brothers.
Nice. Not only him, but we have the wingman running the three, LT the Sage. How you doing today, brother?
Doing good as well. Down goes Brady. Hey, you love to see it.
Finally, man, something different. Love it.
Oh, you guys are some haters. No, but you know what? Well, I will talk about him a little bit more because I think it makes sense to talk about him. But in this episode in particular, what we're going to dive into is the streaming list, the waiver wire to get you that punch for next week that Jacob put on newlifefantasy.com. So actually, you guys, make sure you join as a member on the website. Also, make sure you subscribe to the mailing list so that way when an article is dropped, you'll get fantasy basketball, baseball, or football content. So that will be available. Make sure you sub-zero that subscribe button on YouTube. Hit the bell. It's dinner time. Comment below. Give us a thumbs up. It continues to help our brand grow. Also, make sure you subscribe to Take a Ride podcast. And then we're going to talk about the recent news coming up. And we might even touch up on a little bit of the Sage trade corner rumors that might have been circulated in the fantasy community. So with that being said, I am ready to take people on for a ride. Jacob, I'll pass you the ball on the recent news there, brother.
All right, brother. First up on recent news, Kyrie Irving is considering shoulder surgery. So to me, this injury always had like a mysterious feel. And whenever a listener would ask me for advice on whether, on whether to buy low or to see if they would trade, I would always say, absolutely try to trade him, or I would hold off on buying him low because because there was no clarity with this injury. So I feel validated with this news. Now it's not for certain, but with the Nets doing well without him, and he needs to think about the rest of his career and not to push it. It just, it feels validating for me. But I'm going to bounce past the ball to you there, Starks. What are your thoughts on the Kyrie situation?
This is an unfortunate situation, especially for those owners that have him. In the beginning of the season, I put a little bit of a weary on drafting him just because of the massive usage rate that he was going to pick up with Kevin Durant being out. And as you guys were seeing, he was exploding in the first few games of the season. They were losing some games behind it, so it was almost like he was doing it in vain, right? And, I think we would all know, at least collectively as a community, that, Kyrie Irving is he's a high risk, high reward type of player. And what I mean by that is the injury potential risk. Now, that comes on everybody. Everybody's really an injury risk in the NBA in particular, but he's been, in the league for a few years, long enough now that we're accustomed to know that he's been injured a lot in his career. But for those GMs that have him, especially in a dynasty format, now, there was something that kind of surfaced our way that I'm sure LT might elaborate on towards the clutch shot. But there's people trying to send some low ball offers for Kyrie Irving. And that's just not the wisest thing to do. And it kind of makes sense in a way to try to buy him while you can in the dynasty format. But don't think you're going to poach an owner on some cheap bids. But if you're capable of buying him, I would. If you're in a win now type of situation, you might have to think about maybe selling him, to try to get that bang for this year in a dynasty format, redraft format. It is tough, but I'll pass you the ball there, LT. What's your thoughts, man?
Yeah, not too much on this one, fellas. It makes sense, right? This year is kind of a throwaway year for the Nets. Not saying that they're trying to throw away this year overall, but no Kevin Durant this year. He was never going to play. They're not going to be competitors for the title shot this year. Get Kyrie healthy. Get him that surgery if he needs it, and get ready for next year. That's where all their chips are at. So what this does say to me is that people like Dinwiddie, And people like our guys, Tory, man, if Prince can do well with his time, I guess, but Joe Harris, all these other players, their value might actually be actually steady and decent for the rest of the year, especially people who picked up Dinwiddie. Karis LeVert might come back, I think. I'm not too sure on his timetable.
Yeah, he came back.
Yeah, he came back. That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
So these guys are going to be trying to get these guys ready for next year when they are going to be title contenders automatically with Kevin Durant out there. So definitely look out for that, guys. But I've invested in Kyrie in a couple leagues. Sucks, but I'm almost glad if he gets surgery because it makes it in redraft formats. It gives you the A-OK to drop him. You can drop him and move forward. I think that's best for everybody right now. So that's my thoughts on that.
Love it. All right. So next is that Kevin Love is sitting out today due to rest, aka load management. I see this as the Cavs trying to keep him healthy. Like perhaps trying to trade him. But what do you think, LT?
I agree. It's pretty obvious nowadays with load management. You can blame a lot of things on load management, right? This isn't load management. This is them keeping their trade chip healthy so that come trade deadlines, things start spicing up for my guys in Portland or for the Lakers who have been asking about him. The Knicks who have been looking for a max player for years are looking for him, and so they're just hungry for somebody. So there's a couple teams that are interested in him, and Cleveland wants picks. They want to build again from the ground up. So it makes sense, and I'll see a lot of load management days for him in the next month. Over to you, Starks.
All right.
Yeah, and it's funny because, well, it's not funny, but I'm sure you guys seen that report that he had that outburst towards the GM.
Yeah.
So he's obviously just unhappy in how Cleveland is operating over there in particular. So if he stays in Cleveland, if he doesn't get moved, then you can obviously, like you guys had mentioned, you could expect load management to come his way. But it also makes us think, well, who would get the nice value and boost from that team in particular? I mean, what we can also think about is, what's his name? Porter. This is somebody I'm hoping that's going to get some opportunity off the bench. And they got Exum too. Didn't they get him in that trade, or am I missing something here? Exum went over there.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm hoping Exum could get, I know he's been a guy that he's been hidden in the mist for the last few years in Utah. Him going in Cleveland, maybe there could be some glimmer of light. He's been riddled with injuries in his career, but there's a slight bit of upside. Maybe they could utilize him in the future. But and also, just to go on a tangent here, ISO, Darius Garland real quick. He's been playing a lot better, and we're recording while games are going on, and it looks like Paul George is going to play as well as Patrick Beverly for Sunday. But I will just say this. I think that Darius Garland needs to be taken more serious. He's been picking things up, especially in points leagues. So if he's in a shallow league, maybe in a 12-man league, I would take a pick up on him in particular, and I'll pass you the ball there, Jacob.
Solid. So actually, funny enough, my next bit of news is that Paul George was questionable due to hamstring tightness. But if he's playing, that's a great sign because hamstrings are super tricky. So I definitely see him not playing a lot of minutes unless he's just completely healthy. So, that's definitely something to monitor this game for sure. I'll just skip ahead then to Andre Drummond. Amidst all these trade rumors, he says that he wants to finish his career in with the Pistons. Yeah. I'm not sure if this is all smoke or if he truly just loves being there. But what do you see? What do you see Detroit doing there? LT, do you think that they'll build around him, or do you think they'll just pull the trigger? Because there's been a few teams that's been interested.
I think that they do actually pull the trigger. The thing about it, it's weird to me because the places I've seen him connected to, I don't know if he fits on those teams And the teams that he actually needs to go to, or like if they were to do a double, like the Knicks were to go hard and get Love and Drummond, but they have Mitch, right? So he's not a Batman, he's a Robin, and so he needs somebody else to attach to in order to be successful in my mind on a team. And so I don't know if any of these trades work logistically, but I do think that Pistons are seriously considering moving him and Blake for draft trips. They're getting a lot of production from their young guys. Starks has talked about Mr. Wood himself. A couple of these other guys are there's potential there in their younger people. And so I think they do move those two. Starks, what do you think?
I disagree that one part I disagree with you on is I know you said he needs a Batman to his Robin. I think he could be more of a person that could be potentially to be inserted into a Batman role. It's just because of he's an underrated a guy that can get you facilitating assist stats. But I think it's the Detroit, situation doesn't look too good there. But I'll say it like this also. What was I going to say? Andre Drummond. I think what Jacob said, he said he wants to keep his career in Detroit. He's saying the right things, but I don't think that's more of smoke, I believe. I don't think that's really true in his heart. So I think he's really on the potential of moving somewhere. But if he was to go to a different team, I think he could be good. But he does need some at least good enough players. I'm not going to say he needs a Batman, but some collective amount of good players around him. But if he does definitely, potentially leaves, it goes about who would they get back in return. We would obviously think of that first. But one person, if they don't get anything strong enough in return for his big man presence, and we can consider Blake Griffin, load management or injury risk, and, he's not having playing, we can think of obviously, like LT said, Christian Wood. And then LT, help me out here. Is it Suko Dumbayo? Go ahead and hit me with the real terminology on his name.
Yeah. Hold on one second. Let me put. I have to look. I have to look at his actual name.
Dombuya.
I think that's it. Dombuya.
Dombuya. Yeah, Dombuya.
This guy is definitely a player that we've talked. Good one. This is a guy we've talked about here in the podcast, and in a dynasty format, I want my hands on him because if he starts, which he did. He gave you a double-double stat recently. He is the upside type of play that is a potential league winner. If you're in a deep redraft format, honestly, I would take a waiver wire snag on him and see what happens. Now, it could disappear, but I would definitely take the risk on him. So that is someone you guys got to keep in mind. I'll pass you the ball there, Jacob, if there's anything else there, man.
Yeah, that's solid. That's solid advice there, brother. Definitely on him. Lastly, and we already touched up on this, but I want to say it again. Caris LeVert returned to action after missing 24 games. He came back. He only played about 16 minutes, but that was to be expected. He went 5 for 7 with 13 points, 1 assist, and made 2 threes. So it's a welcome sight for a Nets team that hasn't been missing Kyrie. But like Dinwiddie has been shouldering all the offense, really. So, I mean, I'm sure him coming back takes the pressure off of him, but I want to pass the ball to you there, Starks. Who do you see Caris LeVert, as he's going to get more minutes, someone else's minutes has to go down. So who do you think that he hurts the most? You would think Caris LeVert, or not Caris LeVert, but you would think your boy Dinwiddie, but I think your boy Dinwiddie is safe, to be honest with you. If it damages anybody, I would think more of the bench players. So they were given some time to Wilson Chandler, which is weird. I don't know why that's the case. They were also given time to TLC. I'm not going to even try his name. It's going to be hooked on phonics. It's like Luau Caparo, and I think that's pretty close. They were giving him time off the bench in particular. What about your boy?
Who's that?
Shirley Temple.
He's up here.
Oh, there it is. Thank you. That is the main one. Thank you for bringing him up. Both of you guys. Yeah. Shirley Temple, Legends of the Hidden Temple, Garrett Temple. I am so happy to see him. This is wrong for me. I guess this is wrong for me to say because he has been doing well as a starter, but he would take the biggest I'm glad you brought that up, Jacob. He takes the biggest hit of them all when Karis LeVert gets his minutes up going and gets an uptick on that. LT, what's your thoughts, man?
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. Shirley Temple here. He was born in 1986. He is not a spring chicken. So you gotta understand, Karis LeVert. Once he gets up to speed, he's gonna get most of the minutes. He is one of those pieces, right, of why Durant wanted to come to the Nets. He had a breakout. Yeah, pretty much a breakout year last year. Had a crazy year. Dinwiddie's looking good. So yeah, that's why you come to the Nets with all this young talent that was springing up last year. So you love to see it, and you don't love to see if you invested in Temple him kind of being shaded. But that's all I got for that.
Right on, guys. Well, that has to do with all the news. That's the end of the first quarter. And I'm going to pass the ball to you there, Starks.
All right, and I'm going to do a bet behind the back pass to LT if he has second quarter Sage corner trade rumors there.
Yes, it's the Sage trade corner, and we have two names here, and actually we have one name and then two, kind of like a dual threat here, and it's all with the same teams, but we have Kyle Kuzma coming up for trade rumors with the Lakers. Sounds like Kuzma, with all the drama going on, I don't know if you guys have been following the drama behind Kuzma's trainer and LeBron and all this all this other stuff. So with all that being said, you already know how it goes when you're on LeBron's team. You're either on his side or you're on another team. That's it. That's all it is. And so this is par for the course.
Hey man, don't tell the pizza guy that, man.
Hey, don't tell the pizza guy that, exactly. Hey, yuck. But yeah, so that's what it is. Teams are just interested. GMs are clamoring, going over to the Lakers, probably because of this news. What do you guys think about Kuzma being shipped off, and do you think that's good for his value?
I'll just say this real quick. Unfortunately, I don't think, in a fantasy spectrum, I don't think Kuzma's that good in fantasy. Mm-hmm. He's just a points and maybe some decent rebounds. In the points league, he's okay. In a 9-cat league or an 8-cat league, not so much. I mean, I know LeBron from the beginning was happy to have him there, but if he's not feeling somebody, especially that someone's close to Kuzma and whatever, LeBron, like you said, LT, if he doesn't like you, then see ya, right? But I'll pass you the ball, Jacob. What's your thoughts, man?
Yeah. He gives you no stock stats. No nothing. He just scores, which could be better on more of a wasteland team if the Lakers were to unload him to a team that's desperate for scoring. He could get some more run, which, like you say, Starks, he could fall into some hustle stats. So his value would definitely increase there if he goes to, I don't know, let's say the Hawks or the Hornets or someone like that. He could actually dent the value of other players on the wasteland team. So that's definitely something to keep in mind there.
Yeah, I agree with both of you brothers, and I also think that he could really use a change of scenery for sure, especially on that team, the Lakers. The Lakers are looking for help as far as veterans, and that goes into my next trade or trade area. The Lakers, again, there's a lot of drama going in Los Angeles. The Clippers are jumping in to block a potential Darren Collison coming out. You heard about that? You heard about that? Yeah. Good. This is juicy stuff. So Darren Collison, just to give you a kind of like a baseline level, Darren Collison may be coming out, and Lakers were, it was already match made it happen. Clippers like, hey, we're better than the Lakers. Come over to us. Come over to the Clippers. And so there's a lot going on with that. So rumors are now spreading that the Lakers have maybe switched gears and now are interested in DJ Augustin as well, picking him up instead of Collison. I don't know if that has any really effect on DJ's value on the Lakers, but what do you feel about with him leaving? What does that open up as far as players that could take his place?
So are we talking about we talk about Collison and Augustine, or which one here? Well,
no, Augustine. I'm talking about Augustine. He's on the Magic.
Okay.
No, I'm sorry. He's on the Magic. And so if he gets traded, what do you feel would be the direct, person who would get the most value added with that added time on the Magic?
Yeah, so if he went to, I just want to make sure I understand. So if he went to the Lakers potentially, or the Clippers, is that who he's looking at?
To the Lakers. So if he went to the Lakers,
okay,
yeah, because Darren Collison I don't believe he's on a team. I think they're just
right.
They're just gonna pick him up. But the Lakers are moving away from now that the Clippers are jumping in, which is pretty funny. Now they're maybe we'll go after DJ Augustin instead and have it showed interest for him on the Magic.
I mean, that's fine. Collinson, I mean, if you guys are familiar, he was like one, LT talks about getting cheap big men. A few years ago, when it came to guards, you can always get cheap guards. And Darren Collison was a massive cheapie back in the day. It's always DJ Augustin, some cheapie guards. It's a little bit different now. Super cheapies, right? So as far as Darren Collison, if he's coming back from retirement, just because he was kind of, wouldn't say forced, but he made a decision. I think it was like faith-based or whatnot. But if he comes back, I'll kind of segue into this question real quick. It was one of the questions I was asked by a listener a little while back. He said, I was in a Dynasty league. I got $200 fab budget. I'm in a deep, I think he was like 24 man league. How much would you put on Darren Collison? I said, yeah, you could put about $20 fab or between 20 and 40. And then some people didn't like that answer. They're like, well, how's he going to even get in the rotation? Like, he's not even in the league. I said, well, you know what? He's not in Yahoo yet, for sure. And then someone said he was in ESPN. I was like, oh, that's cool. I mean, that's definitely, I would still pick him up, because if you're in a deep Dynasty league, he's definitely warranted to add, because I think LA is going to utilize him off the bench, right? Mm-hmm. He's not going to be as strong as he was before. I don't think so. He's not going to start. Could he start? He could, but I'm sure LeBron is going to still run guard there. But I guess it kind of hampers the Rondo and Darren Collison situation too. So maybe he doesn't get that much value, but in a deep format, yeah, I'm gonna pick him up because it might work out. But as far as DJ Augustin and Darren Collison, I know people are using DJ Augustin in a deep format. If he goes to the Lakers, I think his value takes a hit versus Orlando, because all Orlando really has as a guard is Markelle Fultz, right? So, the Lakers, you still got LeBron running the offense. You got Rondo there. You even got the haircut specialist Caruso there as well. So, DJ Augustin is going to take a little bit of a hit there. That's my thoughts. But if they went to the Clippers instead, one of them, then the value wouldn't be the best. But I still think in a dynasty format, you got to pick up Collison just because of the hopes of landing on one of the teams. Jacob, what's your thoughts, man?
You said that beautifully, man. Yeah, I mean, if they trade Augustine, I can definitely see them just doing a fire sale and trading LT's boy Fournier. I can definitely see them just like shipping out all those vets. I can see when Al-Farouq Aminu comes back. I mean, like, there's no reason to keep him if you're going to trade off your bets, because like Augustine, like you said, he's the only other guard other than Fultz there that's producing, because the next guard up would be Mace Windu, right? Wes Windu or something like that.
Wes Windu, yeah. Mace Windu.
Wes Windu, yeah. So they would be in trouble if they traded him away. So, unless they got something back from the Lakers to make it worth it, I don't see the Magic trading him away. But he would definitely, to me, he would be the better option than Collison, just because he's in game shape. He's been playing all year, and he would fit seamlessly with the Lakers as the backup point guard for sure, because I think they've been playing Kentavious Caldwell-Pope at point guard sometimes, which is weird. Yeah. But so Augustine would be a huge upgrade for them. And Collison, like you said, he'd be an upgrade for either team, because his last season in play, he was averaging 11 and 6 with steals that are solid. So whoever gets those gentlemen is definitely going to receive an upgrade for sure.
Yeah, the beautiful both of you brothers. I will add just a couple things. Darren Collison, in my eyesight, is probably a better off-ball player. So he probably would fit with the Lakers probably a little more than DJ. I think DJ usually has the ball a little bit more. I think Derek Collison would fit pretty well. But also just wanted to mention if DJ does get moved or shipped in general, Michael Carter-Williams may be able to scope out a larger role. I mean, nothing's set in stone with Markelle Fultz. I know everyone loves them some Fultz. Hey, I'm not a believer, but hey, believe what you want. But Michael Carter-Williams, I do like him. So if he can get some time and maybe some consistency, maybe he ekes out a little bit more of a value run or a role in the Magic if DJ leaves. But that's all I got. Starks, over back to you, man.
Nice. Thank you, guys. Thank you, gentlemen. So we're going to go into the streams for the week and potential speculative ads that you got to look on newlifefantasy.com that Jacob puts the hard work behind, if you could pull that up, LT. So in saying that, I was going to ask you for this week on week 12 that's coming up, Jacob, is there any players that you want to recommend for like maybe the top 5 players and kind of expand on them for the week?
Absolutely, brother. Thank you. So my number one streamer for today, or for week 12, is Jordan McRae. He's been on fire lately. So much so that to the point where I actually got a listener question asking in a Dynasty league, should I keep Jordan McRae or Kevin Huerter? Now that's, that's an easy question to answer because I don't think you guys know, or, like the average listener doesn't know, but Jordan McRae is 28 years old. So he's a veteran. He's finally getting his opportunity. So he's more of a streamer right now with all the Wizards injuries such as Bryant, Wagner, and Beal, even though Beal is back, but there are rest days coming for him. So to me, Jordan McRae is a solid streamer this week. He has 4 games. He starts out with a tough matchup against the Celtics, but then after that he faces the Magic, the Hawks, and then the Jazz. So I mean, like he has a pretty decent schedule this week. He's getting the minutes. He just had a 36-point game this week. I mean, like he gets you those boards. He gets you some steals and threes. So he's definitely my top streamer for the week. And then second there, I got DJ Augustine as my second streamer, just because down goes Isaac. So Augustine is going to shoulder more of the workload for sure, and he faces the Nets and the Wizards and the Sun. All of those teams are definitely beatable. So I like him this week to get you some points and some assists and some boards, because he's going to be seeing some heavy minutes. Because as we said earlier, Fultz is really the only other guard there, and there's also Carter Williams, but he hasn't been playing a ton. So I really think that Augustine could be very valuable for you this week. And then third is Gorgio. Is it Gorgio Jang?
I think it's Gorgie Jang.
Gorgie Porgy.
Yeah, we call him Porgy. Yep. We call him Porgy.
His game has been absolutely gorgeous. As
see what you did there.
Towns.
Yeah,
thanks. Towns has been out. I think he's definitely holding out for a trade, or he's just going to wait until he's 100% healthy, because the Wolves are just tanking right now, and they're playing all their young guys right now. And that also segues to Shabazz Napier. Gorgio Jang and Shabazz Napier are on my list 3 and 4. They've just been getting a lot of run with all these injuries. Like Towns, Wiggins has been sick. And so like it's been opening up opportunity. They've been seeing some heavy minutes. So I would definitely ride that ride that wave as they are getting those minutes. And they both play on slow game days, Tuesday and Thursday. So I would definitely be on the lookout for those two. And then rounding out my top 5 is Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. I was just saying earlier about him how he has the point guard eligibility on Yahoo. He plays on a slow game day Tuesday. That's actually the slowest game day. And he's been getting minutes in the mid-20s. He's been a great 3 and D guy. And as long as he's getting those minutes on a great team with LBJ passing the rock to him, I would definitely recommend him as one of my top streamers. So those are my top 5 there, Starks.
Thanks. And actually, let me talk about maybe the two players out of the 5. Thank you for the breakdown on that, Jacob.
Absolutely.
So one of the guys, and I'm going to keep reminding to the listeners, and I'm sure you guys heard us in this podcast, at least me mentioning this, is that everybody was so excited of the echo and hype train on Gary Payton II, right?
Right.
Jordan McRae has been the better ad. And that's, something that I suggested that we need to pay a little bit more attention to McRae. It's not to say Gary Payton is not worthy of an ad, but he wasn't worth paying a whole bunch of your fab in particular. At least in my logic, I had McRae maybe a slight bit more of an ad over Gary Payton II. So far, it's looking like that. Now, things can change for sure this season. Just like what Jacob had said, even LT had mentioned earlier, a few episodes ago, that, listeners, you do definitely know McRae is 28 years old. So in a Dynasty format, it doesn't really make sense to think long-term with him. Now, Gary Payton II is more the long-term stab. So maybe if the Wizards continue to lose and if Bill misses more time towards the end of the season, then maybe they'll, I wouldn't say showcase, maybe they'll utilize Gary Payton II more. But for right now, you're trying to eke out wins, right? This is why we do streams and waiver wire pickups, because you're trying to get wins for the week. McRae is the better pickup currently right now to help you get those wins, right? Versus Gary Payton II. That's not to say Payton is not good, but it's important is everything is timing, right? So another player that I want to mention that I made a mistake on to a listener, I do apologize, is Shabazz Napier. Someone kept asking me, like, Stars, do I pick up Napier? I'm like Shabazz Napier, you can, but will I pick him up? Like, no. But he's been playing really well, right? Yes. I'll say this. I don't, if you were to ask me, well, how long is this going to last, Starks? I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know, right? I really don't know, because Minnesota right now, it's just a weird situation. We're in, it's not, I'm like in I forgot, was it a rock in a hard place? I don't know how to really go about this, especially with Towns going back and forth. It's not, just like Jacob says, I'm not trying to question Towns' character at all, right? But we keep seeing the questionable tag with him. So this is an unfortunate situation. And, we know Shabazz Napier, he's not a center. We know that, but he's like a guard. So we're looking at him, he's a guard. So who's going to get some value? He's obviously inserted to get the time frame, and obviously that's something to look at. And you got to use them under your disposal currently right now. LT, I'll pass you the ball if there's any other players you want to talk about there on his list.
Yeah, I wanted to just touch on, and beautifully spoken, Starks. I wanted to touch on McRae real quick. McRae is a what we would like to call a one-year wonder type of player, because this year he's going to have the ability and the time, but next year he might not get any playing time. He may be a backup, maybe a backup point guard. He may not be. Maybe they trade John Wall. You never know. So what you do, you go, if you pick them up, you use him to try to take a strong approach to the end of the season. That's what McRae is. He's one of those players where he comes in, he gets opportunity, he performs that whole year, but next year you may not hear us speak about McRae at all. So just want to keep that in mind for Dynasty format players. If you're really looking to win now, he might be a good pickup for you, but if you're looking to build, he may not have this opportunity next year. So another guy I want to talk about, we're going to keep with Minnesota, because I really have a weird feeling about Minnesota, Starks and White Knight. Got a weird feeling things are about to go crazy within the next month before trade deadline. So one of the guys I like and I've been seeing some good stuff out of is the Culver's Ice Cream. I love what I'm seeing from him, playing huge minutes the last 3 games. 38. He's I believe he's 6'6", plays that 2 spot pretty well. Probably can play that 3 spot as well. So he can maybe play with Wiggins side by side. I love watching these two. I love watching Culver specifically. He has some pretty nasty highlight dunks recently. I know you've seen it White Knight, but
ask Robin Lopez about that.
Yeah, Robin Lopez knows about Culver very well. But I love it. I love what he brings to the team. I love his style. I loved it ever since his name was Culver, and I called him Culver's Ice Cream. So I love the added run he's getting. So just keep an eye out on him. If they do start selling everybody on this team, he's probably gonna stay there and probably be a very hot name come into the year. But that's all I got for those guys that's on that list, man. Great list.
Perfect. And let me steal a ball. I'll ask you here, Jacob, in a minute. Got to talk about Minnesota a little bit more. I've got to juice that orange a little bit more. Naz Reid and Gorgie Porgy Jang, like you got to obviously utilize Jang for right now, but Naz Reid in a dynasty format, please, for the listeners, if you can buy him, try to buy him right now. And it might be hard to do it, but if Towns leaves and they don't get like another big man in return, Naz Reid is that guy, man, that could give you that double-double with blocks, some threes from time to time. He's an odd player, but those are the type of players that you need on a team to give you that boost. So I'm a big backer of Naz Reid and Jang. He's that guy who's going to give you that redraft prominence right now whenever Towns get back. So coming back on this list, Jacob, if you want to name a few more, I want to mention one more that I see on here that I'm a little upset that people don't have more shares of him. It's what is his name? It's Aaron Holiday, like from the Pacers. Like you guys, like, and I think it's like 37% owned. I'm not really sure in Yahoo formats. I got to be wrong on that, but he needs to be owned in a lot more leagues because we know Dippo is out, and honestly, one of my original guys, Miles Turner, sometimes his minutes get sniped from Aaron Holiday coming off the bench. That they have Miles Turner on the bench. They deploy Domantas Sabonis because the Sabonis and Miles Turner experiment doesn't really work too well. So Aaron Holiday takes those minutes sometimes at the end of the fourth quarter and does well. And me and LT talked about this. If Aaron Holiday went to a wasteland team and he started, he would be one of those solid, cheap guards, because he can get you those assists and he can score some points. He's a solid contributor for any team. And honestly, the Pacers, man, I'm telling you, they got all of these. And it's not because I like the Pacers, but they got a lot of talent there. Some decent role players there that can fill it up at any time. And now I know this comes on the hill of Malcolm Brogdon sometimes hasn't been there, but it doesn't matter, man. They got some decent talent off that bench, and Aaron Holiday is one of them. Jacob, I'll pass you the ball if you got any thoughts on that. And at the same time, if you want to touch up on more players on your list there, man.
I do, man. I was surprised, too, that Aaron Holiday's not owned in a lot more leagues because Malcolm Brogdon's been struggling with injuries as of late. And actually, McConnell, I think, went down with an ankle sprain. I don't think it's serious, but, I mean, like, point guards are dropping left and right, and Dippo isn't even there yet. So, I mean, like, Aaron Holiday's the only true healthy point guard on that roster. So he definitely, I agree. He definitely needs to be rostered in more leagues. And then just to go down the list, just to keep these names in mind to all you listeners, I got Mikal Bridges, Royce O'Neal, which I think he needs to be owned in a lot more 9-cat leagues. He's subtly producing top 150. I know.
Hey, LT, pick him up.
Never.
You scoff at it.
Unless he starts rapping.
Oh, okay. Royce O'Neal. I love his game, man. He's a 3-and-D guy, and he subtly gets like across the board stats, like very low end, but he gets the job done for you as like an end of your bench guy. But you guys don't like him, that's fine. But he's a good streamer.
I wish y'all could see me. I'm doing the Stark's eye. Stark's eye.
Yeah, you put that eye
3-and-D or just D.
or just none.
He hits threes.
Or just nothing.
I'm just joking. I'm messing.
I know. He is extremely boring, but to me, he gets the job done. But hey, I'll move on. And then I got Aaron Holiday, as we already talked about. Garrett Temple, I still think he definitely has an expiration date on streaming, but I will still trust him this week. What was that?
No, you're good. Keep going.
Levert's going to, his minutes aren't going to be bumped up for probably another few games. So I still think that Temple has enough value to get through this week. And then I'm going to say Bobby Portis.
Bobby Portis. Oh, yeah. Oh, crazy eyes. Bobby Portis. Go ahead.
Crazy eyes for sure, man. He is owned in a lot of ESPN leagues. So ESPN to us, they are notorious for having super low owned players. But for some reason, Bobby Portis is owned in 31% of leagues. So I don't know if they're holding on to his days at the Bulls, but he's doing enough to stream him. He's getting those minutes. And then as long as Porzingis is hurt, I'm going to ride the Maxi Kleber train. He gets the job done whenever he's out, right? Call. Yeah, and Dwight Powell does too, but he's owned in a lot of leagues because he's consistent even off the bench. Yeah, I think so. He needs to be owned in a lot more leagues. As far as Porzingis' knee, I mean that's scary. Hopefully he does return soon, but until I hear that word, I'm going to ride that train. And then to round out my list, I got Daniel Theus with blocks. I got Patty Mills with 3 and D with some assists. Sedai Osman, he actually plays on the slow game days, Tuesday, Thursday. With Kevin Love resting and all the turmoil in Cleveland, I mean, somebody has to score and produce. And side note, man, Sexton has been going off lately. He's been fun to own for sure. But Sedai Osman, and then Curious George Hill, Stark's boy, Jakob Hurdle, Dante DiVincenzo, Bruce Brown Jr., Christian Wood, and Dorian Finney-Smith for the 3 and D. So that rounds out my top streamers for this week. If you guys want to reference back to that streamer list, you can find that on newlifefantasy.com. Just keep those names in mind for sure.
Yeah, definitely pick up Christian Wood immediately, and in a sense that I would think of the logic of the team because of obviously the Drummond rumors, and then at the same time we're thinking about the Blake Griffin situation. So you got to look at that, and then if LT want to pronounce his name for us, man, because it's hooked on Sekou is another player that you guys can consider starting. Exactly, booyah, right?
Booyah.
This is a play. Oh man, you guys. So he's definitely a player that I want to try to roster on my team. If you're in a 14-man league, yeah, he's to me, he's one of the priorities to add, one of the number one priorities. If you're in a 12-man league and it's deep, you could take a stab. I think he's going to be that guy to give you the punch at the end of the season. But in a dynasty format, I want my hands on him and not even thinking twice on it. LT, the rest of that list, is there anybody else you want to touch up on there, LT?
I think there was, let me look back. Oh, just one more person, Chemical Burt. Yeah. Keep out for Chemical. I like his game, getting time with DJ Augustine, maybe getting moved. The injuries with Isaac. He actually is poised to kind of step into that role of rim protector because we know Vooch doesn't really do it well. So just look out for Chemical Birch putting up some decent stats there with his responsibility going up. And Sekou Doumbouya. I gotta just double stamp it, man. I love it. I love what he brings to the table for this team with his skill set. He's kind of Blake Griffin. He's not high flying, doing crazy dunks and stuff like that. But as far as being a double guy, he has it written all over him. So if you're looking for somebody in a dynasty format, maybe to take a flyer on, like Stark said, he's your guy. But that's all I got.
All right, cool. And before I pass you back the ball, Jacob, on one more or two questions on the stream article that you laid out. One of the two of the guys actually that you had on the list that I want to mention is Isaiah Hartenstein. he's a guy that you got to take in consideration in a very deep format for the Houston Rockets. We know Clint Capella is actually, and I've been disrespectful to Clint Capella, to be honest. I've never been a fan of him, but he's having a good season. But Hartenstein has been doing well coming off the bench. When he was able to start in Clint Capella's, absence, he did well. So this is a guy that I'm excited about. Now, another person that everybody is giving the hype train or the echo on currently was Michael Porter Jr. for the Nuggets. And I think it makes sense to talk about him. Now, I always caution to, just even myself, because I could be a prisoner of the moment, but I know at times people could be prisoner of the moment on certain players. Now, he exploded here, not this last game, but the game before. I think he was like 11 for 13 or something like that, scored 25-ish points. I'll paraphrase it maybe, or just putting it out there. But a lot of people was rushing to get him like he was going to just be this starter all of a sudden in a redraft league. Now, you just can't pay a whole lot of fab on a player in a redraft league that you think is just going to do this every game, right? Denver is so loaded. So they're going to still utilize the stars. Now, me and LT talked about this in a few episodes ago, I believe, that if Gary Harris was to leave maybe or gets moved out, this would help his value, of course. But Michael Porter Jr. is still coming off the bench. The good news is he's starting to get minutes now. The last game, he did not. He only had 12 minutes last game. But there he was. He was 11 for 12 the game before. So everybody was like, oh, man, 25 points, 11 for 12. And then a few games before that, he was like 8 for 10. So what I say is just be cautious of and be cautious of being prisoner of the moment. Because I do that too sometimes occasionally, but you don't want to just rush out and grab him. But that's just something I wanted to say. Jacob, if you want to touch up on the points rankings there, for the listeners, for the streams, and then if you want to touch up and elaborate on anything else that was said here.
Absolutely, brother. Side note, I agree 100% with Michael Porter Jr. You should definitely take a chance on him, but definitely don't risk a lot of fab. So I just wanted to piggyback on you on that. So with widely available points league streamers, here is my list, and we've touched up on some guys, so I'll just quickly run through it here. I like Markelle Fultz, Terrence Ross, and DJ Augustine to all pick up the slack while Isaac is sidelined. And he's going to be sidelined for 10 plus weeks, possibly this season. I don't want to wish that on him, but it's just, if the Magic fall out of contention, why rush him back? So Markelle Fultz, Ross, and Augustine, I can definitely see shouldering the offensive load. Where, like LT always says, like Terrence Ross will just hook up a bunch of threes and stuff, So I can definitely see him doing that. And then I got Jordan McRae, Shabazz Napier, which we already touched up on 9-cap, but I think they'll do enough in points league to help you out this week. I also put Troy Brown in there as well with all of the injuries. I think you'll do enough across the board stats. And then I got Kent Bazemore, who is seeing the minutes in Portland. Dylan Brooks, Gorgie Porgy Jang, Nerlens Noel, who has been quietly producing crazy numbers. I believe I saw him in the top 20 for last week, which is it's insane. So in 9-cat and points league, I would definitely take a look at Nerlens Noel if he is available, because he has been playing great and you want to ride that wave for sure. And then Starks talked about him earlier. Darius Garland has been playing well as of late. And then Taurean Prince, he's been playing well as of late. Sometimes he disappears, but he gets those steady minutes. And so that's what you want. If you are in a 12 plus team league for points, you want guys who are getting minutes, who actually produce. So right now you need to ride those guys and ride the wave with great schedule for you this week.
Nice. Before we get to thank you so much, Jacob, for that. That was nice, especially to dive into what the players have been doing the week before, because that's definitely helpful to give you. That definitely helps the listeners to give them the strength of how to utilize players in the future. So before we get to the clutch shots, LT, is there anything that you want to touch up on before we get into the clutch shots there, brother?
No. Everything looks good so far. It was beautiful. I don't have any other players at this time.
Perfect. So I'm not going to talk about a dynasty player in this episode because we wanted to stay focused on the streams. So make sure you guys check out newlifefantasy.com, join the mailing list, join as a member. Helps us out. Make sure you subscribe to the Take a Ride podcast. It definitely helps us out. We're available on pretty much most podcast formats. Also, check out the YouTube channel that LT puts the hard work on. Sub-Zero, subscribe that button. Hit the bell. It's dinner time. Comment below. Give us a thumbs up. It definitely helps us out. Please, guys, help us out. And honestly, we're going to be doing a listener league. So if you're interested, shoot us a message. We'll give you our Twitter and Instagram, handles here in a minute. But shoot us your email if you want to get in one of those leagues. It's free, competitive. So just reach out to us. We definitely want to get you guys involved in the community with newlifefantasy.com. So the clutch shot I'm going to take is kind of just segue into, obviously we'll talk, I guess it makes sense to talk about Brady, but I'll let the two gentlemen also elaborate on that. But I want to say on the stream article, to segue on the clutch shot on two of them, is Monday, Tuesday, back-to-back games is Brooklyn, OKC, Sacramento. So utilize that strength for those stream options for those back-to-back days. Utilize what Jacob has been putting out. It definitely gives you that help for you that's desperate to get those extra pickups or those extra stats that you need to get you that win for the week. And the other guy that we got on, Micah, is going to probably be on the podcast soon. He specializes in fantasy baseball and football. I think he's going to start dabbling a little bit in fantasy basketball, but we're going to get him on here soon. So that's my clutch shot, and I'll pass you the ball there, Jacob, if you have a clutch shot there, brother.
Thank you, brother. Yeah, I wanted to switch it up and talk about Spencer Dinwiddie's and Alec Burke and my alma mater, Colorado Buffaloes here, man. They just beat the number 4 ranked Oregon Ducks. Super pumped about that. And so we had just fallen out of the top 25, but with that win, I see us definitely getting into the 20s after that win at home. So, that's a huge win because usually in the past, we haven't been able to beat those top ranked teams. So it's really nice to do. And it gives us confidence for this year. Yeah. So, one of the Buffs players actually can be on your dynasty radar. His name is Tyler Bey, Bey. In the latest mock draft on NBADraft.net, they had Tyler Bey going 32nd to the Warriors. That would be a supreme landing spot for him because there's a lot of opportunity there. And he's very long. He's like a tweener forward, small forward, power forward, which is right up the Warriors' alley right there. So, I just wanted to say Sco Buffs, and I'm super pumped that they took down the Oregon Ducks.
Oh, let me steal the ball real quick. I forgot we had got a listener question. I wanted to get that out there. It only makes sense to be fair to him because I asked someone real quick to put it out there. Let me get to it real quick. This is a very good question.
Oh, yeah, the juice. That's right.
So this guy mentioned, is it a good time to sell high on Lonzo, or will he keep this hot streak up? Personally, I'm ready to let it ride and see what happens. Thanks. So LT, I will pass you the ball. Is it a good time to sell high on Lonzo or ride this streak and keep him?
I'm gonna make this my clutch shot as well.
Okay.
It is time to hold your water. And the reason why you want to hold your water on Lonzo Ball is because the team's not even full. They're not even to their full potential yet. Let's see how he plays with Zion. Let's see how he plays with Ingram, who's a breakout. I hate to say this word, Stark, superstar in the making. And I know, I hate to say it, but potential superstar right now. And let's see how he plays with these guys all on the court together, all on the same team, and see if he can produce. I don't expect crazy numbers from Ball. I expect 12 to 14 points a game with high assist numbers and with some couple of steal stock stats. That's all I expect from him. If he does that, then he's reached his potential in my book. So maybe that's just me cutting him short. What do you guys think? You think that is his normal, or where we should see his potential, or should it be more?
So are you holding or selling him then?
I'm holding
right now. Okay, Jacob, what about you, man?
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I actually I was offered him for Markelle Fultz, and I actually brought up that question to you guys in an earlier podcast.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and I accepted right away, because that was essentially, it was selling Fultz high and buying Ball low. It was like a perfect storm there. And Ball, for the past week, he has been the number 7 ranked player in 9-cat leagues, and for the past 2 weeks, he's been the number 39th ranked player. Yes, you can sell high, but for me as an owner, I would be weary of buying him. So if you own him, why not just ride the wave and see if this is real? So if you can sell high, yes, but if it's not extremely high value that you're getting back for what he's done over the past week or two, then I would just hold on and just enjoy the ride, because he's been hitting those threes, he's been getting those points and rebounds, assists, like LT saying, and with some stock stats, and he's playing 30 to 35 minutes a game. So I'm going to hold on him and just ride that wave, Starks. What do you think?
Oh, this is tough. I think I might be in a disagreement with both of you guys here. It makes sense, which you guys brought us some really good points. The reason why, and he's been a top 7 player the last week, and then the last 2 weeks inside the top 40. Beautiful. Now, I'll say it like this. I was hoping Lonzo Ball would be so good for quite some time, like a top 50 player or better, but it seems like it just hasn't resonated in him, and I thought it was a breakout season. Maybe this is for good things to come. It potentially could be, because he's ranked 132 right now. Honestly, if you're able, and I mean, kind of what you said, Jacob, you said if you're able to sell him high and get the right value return, then yeah, but why not ride it? If you're able to get a potential top 45-ish player or better, then that's what I would sell him. If you don't think you can get more than that, then yeah, I think you would hold him. But in a sense, of what he's doing right now, you might be able to sell high and get something of that value. In a dynasty format, oh man, I think I may hold him. But again, I guess, listeners, when you ask a question, kind of see like, if you're going to try to sell high, what do you think maybe potential, what value could you get in return? Because this is something we think that he could do, like as a top 50-ish player. But I just don't think he could be a top 40 player or better this year. Could he be in the future? Yeah, absolutely. But I guess we'll still wait and see. So that's still tough. I mean, we're still kind of close, but I just a little bit of a disagreement. But honestly, that's a good question either way. So you guys can find me on my Twitter handle. It's at Starks_industry. You can also find me on Instagram, One Closing Hero. Give me a follow. Ask me a question. I'll get back to you at a prompt time. I'll pass you the ball there, Jacob. Where can they find you at, man?
Thank you, brother. You can find me on Twitter at Ain't Done Yet, and done is spelled DUNNE. I'd love for you guys to give me a follow and ask me any questions you have, and God bless you guys.
LT?
Yeah, appreciate it. The young sage is arisen from the ashes. So I appreciate the listeners being just patient with me as you see me blink in and out of here. But you can find me on Twitter at Sage Network X. Just go ahead and shoot me any questions, anything that you would like. And also comment on the YouTube videos. I'm going to actually have a timestamp on this YouTube video. If you want to learn about some recent news and some trades rumors, perfect. If not, I'm gonna have a timestamp in there to get right into the waiver wire, where you can click on it. It'll take you right there. So just leave a like, leave a comment, and let us know what you'd like. That was one of the suggestions I got. So appreciate it.
That's nice.
All right. With that being said, you guys have a good evening, morning, afternoon, and take a ride.